How are we doing, guys? Welcome back to the Bar Steelers. These are our player ratings for the match against Serbia last night, which we lost 1-0. We're going to start with Darren Randolph. I actually thought he had a decent enough game. Made a great save in the first half from Mitrovic. Second half, Tadic had a shot that went straight into him. The goal, just for the fact that Kolarov can hit the ball at like a million miles an hour, you'd expect him to save it, but the power behind the shot was quite something. So for me, I'd probably give him a 6. Maybe the goal is, I'm being a bit harsh, but probably the goal takes away from that. It was good to see him going up at the end there to try and score as well. But he had a few long balls that he picked out people. So could have been, he was trying to get the ball out as quick as possible as well when he had it in his hands. So yeah, probably for me a 6. Kevin, you want to talk about Christy?
Cyrus Christy. I thought it was probably one of his worst games for Ireland. He's quite solid in terms defensively. He was kind of caught out in terms of goal. He got a little bit sucked in that allowed the ball to go past him and then Kolarov to come in. I don't think it was necessarily his fault, but as I said, not a spectacular game. Going forward, he does tend to contribute. It wasn't his best game. He did have a shot on goal. He kind of cut in his left, but there was a few times I thought he could have maybe gone at Kolarov a little bit more. And considering our physical presence in the box, he could have done a bit better to get to the byline and maybe try and get a cross in. I thought sometimes he was a bit too ponderous and he should have been maybe a little bit more clinical in how he went about his play.
Out of 10?
I'd say I'm going to have to give him a 5, unfortunately.
5. Alright. Nick, Shane Duffy?
Big improvements the last couple of games. Thought against Austria he was a little bit reckless at times and he can kind of throw himself about kind of needlessly. But the last 2 games have been really impressive. Duffy looked solid last night. Wasn't too bad on the ball either. I thought he looked quite composed and to be honest wasn't troubled too much either, which probably helped him. Unlucky with the disallowed goal, but it was a mile offside. I'll give him a 7. Give him a 7. Yeah,
that's right. That's fair. Kieran Clark. Clark did quite well last night. Defensively, solid enough. Won everything. As Nick said there last video, the lads behind us were going, "Oh, Clark hasn't won anything in the air." And I was like, he has. Every ball that's come near him, he's been out to. He's quite calm on the ball. Can't fault him at all for the goal. I'd have to give Clark probably a 7 as well. Was quite solid. Didn't really, didn't do anything wrong. Wasn't spectacular, but you don't want your centre backs to be spectacular. I want them to be solid, and so for me,
made some good tackles too.
Some good tackles too. So
the pairing of him and Duffy did very well last night.
I think that's what we're going.
They're getting a great understanding.
For me, Clark gets a 7. Stephen Ward.
Stephen Ward, he probably wasn't in the game as much as he's been possibly in previous games. He was a bit quiet. We didn't really have a lot of joy down the left when he was on the pitch. I don't think we really tried as much to get up the left. I think it was we tend to focus a lot on the right side and the likes of Christy. I thought defensively did nothing wrong. He was taken off for O'Dowda, probably to give us a little bit more impetus going forward. I really couldn't fault him in terms of his game. He had a decent game. I'd probably give him a 6. Probably deserved.
Fair enough. Nick, David Meyler.
Man of the match. In my opinion, a lot of people's opinion, I think Orty gave man of the match in the end. Came in for Whelan, showed that he could do Whelan's job plus way more, and I don't think Meyler's even our best option in that position, but it just shows going forward that we need someone else in there. Good bit of authority on the ball. It's a couple of passes that looked a little bit risky, but pulled them off. Good in the tackle, great at tracking back, held his position really well. He's really good in the base of that diamond, but he can actually play a little bit more advanced. But I think as a holding midfielder, he's great, playing nice little balls to feet. Good in the air,
always available as well.
Always available. A little bit slow on the ball, but look, I think he's quicker than Whelan. I think he has that little bit of authority and cockiness to him, which we need in the middle of the park. So look, I'll go for an 8. I think it was a tough night for him. I don't think he was amazing, but he was certainly, he certainly had a seriously good game last night. So I'll go for an 8. Go for
it. Moving out, I'm going to go for Robby Brady. Brady, I think Brady is one of our most technically gifted players. And his set piece deliveries were quite good last night. A couple of poor ones, but overall they were quite good. He broke up the play well when he was defending. Going forward, I just thought he was very sloppy. A few poor passes. Just didn't really click for him last night. Didn't play well in Georgia. Yeah, for me, I probably have to go for a 6 for him. I thought he was actually no. I'm going to give him a 5. I thought he was quite probably one of the poorer performers on the night, unfortunately.
In his defence, I think he's playing on the right hand side of a diamond. I think his best position for Ireland is either on the right wing where he can cut in or left back.
I think as well it's also just an indictment of how high our standards are for Robby Brady, because we know how good he can be, and I'm just being probably picky on him.
The system probably didn't suit him.
Yeah, but I thought again his set pieces, which are his strongest feature, were quite good, or consistent. So for me it has to be a 5 though, but that's just how good I think he is. Kevin
James McLean, another player who the system probably didn't really suit last night. I think he's best suited, as Nick probably previously touched on in the last video, out wide, attacking, a right back. I thought he was a little bit kind of lost in that centre midfield role. He played just on the left of the diamond. He doesn't have the footballing brain, I think, to play there. He has lots of heart and he's lots of energy and he'll run for you all day, but I don't think he really has the ability to pick a pass and pick a man out. I think our expectations of him have gone up exponentially. He's been one of our key performers in this qualifying campaign, but last night I don't think it really happened for him. I think his discipline last night wasn't the best. He put in a heavy enough tackle in the first couple of minutes.
Yeah.
He could have been booked for that. He was then booked later on. He's going to miss the next game against Moldova. He's a key player for us. I think that's going to be a huge loss, and I think that's kind of that. I think coming together, all that, his performance, I have to give him a 5. I think he just didn't have a great game last night, and it's unfortunate for a player who has been incredibly consistent for us in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Nick Weslow.
Yeah, so I suppose there was a lot of anticipation whether he'd start or whether he wouldn't start, and he got the call, and our most composed player on the ball, our most comfortable player on the ball. There was a bit of confidence whenever he got it, never really any doubt that he'd use it kind of poorly. I think there's one occasion where he kind of passed it to the feet of the Serbians, but apart from that, he retained the ball. That's exactly what we need. As I said, we kind of rely on him, but there's other players like him, the likes of Liam Kelly, who can do that job, and are probably better players than Hoolahan. But he adds that bit of quality. And for a 35-year-old, it's not ideal that he's adding quality, and he's by no means world class, but for what he adds to what we have available to us is huge. A couple of times he tried to whip in crosses and he didn't even hit the first man. I think he's better off just playing little through balls, keeping it on the ground. So again, might have suffered a little bit with the system, was taken off way too early. There's the argument that he's 35, he should be coming off. He's an athlete in 2017. They're well conditioned, they're well able.
I think there was talk he was carrying a groin strain, so I think that may have contributed to the fact that he had to come off. But again, it is unfortunate that he had to come off so early.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, I think the Serbians kind of choked him out a little bit as well, which didn't help. But look, whenever he got on the ball, he looked to do something positive with it, unlike a lot of the other players. So might be extremely generous, but I'll go for a 7 for him. I think he tried to make things happen.
That's fair.
I think it's fair.
I'm going to go with Shane Long. He had a very good first half. I thought he had a very good first half. He was running the channels, and he could strike in the first half. He was stretching Ivanovic. It was quite decent first half. Second half, again, as always with Shane Long, he'll run till the cows come home for you. He'll run all day. You
have to do more than run though.
Yeah, no, just his final kind of, when he went out wide and he got the ball, I felt like he should have held it up because he had a lot of space, waited for a winger to come out, give him to winger, and gone in and tried to attack himself, put in a few crosses that kind of got headed away. There was a time in the second half when it was near the end and we needed a goal, and he got the ball in a great position and inexplicably just hit it out wide. Didn't even look up, just assumed someone was out there and just hit it out wide. And you can see he was very devastated after the pass, but his what he does with the ball when he has it just leaves a lot to be desired. I think last night I'm going to have to give him a 6. Probably being generous, but
the thing about Long last night was he seemed to just cut any momentum we had when we were attacking. He was playing in a kind of front two, and he kept receiving the ball almost out of the left. And what he'd do is he'd almost stop, and the Serbians will get back in position, and then he'd cut inside. But it was so predictable. Where what I've seen him do in the past is he can get the ball out wide, he can just drive with the players and cut in. But he almost held the ball and said, okay, I'll let you guys reset and then I'll decide my next move. And I mean, his link-up play, his hold-up play just isn't good enough.
Yeah.
You know, he's best used when he's running off the channels, and he did that quite well last night.
Yeah.
And geez, he got to some unmakeable, I don't know if that's a good word to use, but some unreachable maybe balls that he got to, and has to be admired for that. But just when he's on the ball, he makes very, very poor decisions, and he, even the not being tactically aware enough to know that the Serbians were going to set up just wasn't good enough. But look, tough night from him, and the first half I thought he was pretty good.
I think at times last night as well he lacked support. I think that's down to the system he played. I think he really thrives having men out wide, because it means that he does like to receive the ball, play it out, and then make a run into the box. I don't think he's incredibly comfortable being out wide and being on the ball. He really does need some people around him. That's where he's at his best.
Kevin, John Walters,
it's a solid enough game. I think he's probably our best target man. He got on the end of a few balls, won a few flick-ons. He was, solid if not spectacular. I don't think he really had any kind of chance throughout the game. He didn't look entirely fit.
No, he didn't look fit at all.
He must be carrying something.
Yeah, but there was last week he didn't train some of the days
and stuff.
I think he's been a great servant to Ireland, and I think he just didn't have he never really got into the game last night. And I don't think that's a massive indictment of how he played. I think he just never really got into it. So I think I'd probably have to give him maybe a 6.
6, fair enough. Nick, from the substitute perspective, Conor Hoolahan, you're a big fan of Conor Hoolahan.
Yeah, huge fan of him, and I think he's been misused in the couple of friendlies he played. I think he played like kind of in a flat 2, and then he was playing as a holding midfielder, and when we played the 3 at the back and the 2 wingers, I saw it was just messy. And I think last night, he came on, O'Neill spoke about him being able to score from range, create things out of nothing, and he's got that little creative spark to him as well. He struggled to get into the game. It's his first competitive cap when they're playing with no shape. I think if it was still 0-0, if maybe we were 1-0 up, if we were playing with a bit of structure, I think he might have been able to get into the game a bit better. Had a shot quite late on, and I was talking to a friend of mine who's a Villa fan, and he was saying as soon as he saw that happening, he could just visualise the hat-trick he scored, because it was a similar kind of scenario. He wasn't on that long. He was only on for about 10 minutes, and as I said, at that stage Ireland had lost all shape, so it was very difficult to gauge. But you can see from him, he's a bit about him. He's a good technical player. Wasn't on the set pieces last night, but he's another option from set pieces and another option from range, kind of like a Frank Lampard. Not the same standard, but could be our kind of Frank Lampard. Again, difficult game. We were 1-0 down, they were down to 10 men, the shape went out the window, so look, he wasn't on long enough, just go for a 5, but just by virtue that he wasn't on long enough.
I think one positive I would touch on is the fact that O'Neill actually trusted him to bring him on in such a big game. I think, he's
a big fan of him.
I think that's a real positive. He's come up through the divisions, he got released by Sunderland, then he was at Barnsley,
Plymouth as well,
and he's really gone up, and I think it's great to see a player kind of making a breakthrough. Okay, he's not as young as maybe some other players who could be making a breakthrough, but certainly I think it's great that he's getting a bit of game time. He'll certainly be in the squad for the next couple of years, get him a bit of experience. He could be starting for us come the next campaign, even possibly. The next game, due to the suspensions.
Possibly.
Callum O'Dowda, it's good to see O'Dowda getting on. He came on against Moldova last year when we needed a goal, and he was a positive impact. Again, probably, as you said, the shape wasn't there, and he was kind of stuck. He was out on the wing and he was trying his best. A few balls he kind of overhit, but probably just out of enthusiasm. He wasn't, because he's quite young and stuff. But it's good to see O'Dowda getting run out. First of all, didn't do anything spectacular, but he probably caused a little bit of a different problem for the Serbian right back than maybe Ward and Brady had done all night. So I'd have to give him a 5 as well. Mainly just out of he wasn't on for very long, he tried his best. A few overhit crosses and stuff, but he put in the cross. I think for the penalty appeal. He put in the cross, which was a great ball in. So just give him a 5.
For a guy like who's really struggling for game time at Bristol, like look, they're an alright team, but I think they were nearly relegated from the Championship last year. For a guy struggling for game time from them. For them, like I think any time he's played for us, he's really up to notch, and he looks a quality player. Obviously, the club he's at, I don't know if that's fully reflective of it. Like there was talk of him going to United and Liverpool and quite big clubs, look, rumours, who knows who started them, but I mean, Even last night he broke free and he whipped it in with his right foot, and he's a left-footed player. His pace seems to be quite technically gifted. He was originally a striker, so you never know. He could be. Don't think he was consistent, but he could be an option up there. So he's positive. But again, like I find it funny that he's getting a nod over guys who are probably playing a bit more regularly. But O'Neill sees something in him, and I think in a couple of years he'll be. He could be playing in the Premier League. I think when he finally gets a bit of consistent game time in Bristol, I think we'll see what he can do. He's seriously talented.
Darryl Murphy, Kevin.
I was going to just touch on Callum O'Dowd. I think he's another player like Hoolahan who could be going forward, could be a great player for us. But he gave us a lot of impetus down that left, which I think is a massive positive for such a young player. Darren Murphy, I thought he came on 62nd minute for Wes Hoolahan. I thought he had a very solid game. I think he had a couple of chances. He won them straight at the keeper. He he was kind of dried down when we possibly should have had a penalty. He was the reason for the sending off as well. He was almost one-on-one with the keeper. When I think in the form he's in with Nottingham Forest at the moment, you probably would have trusted him to stick it in.
Yeah.
I thought he's a great option to have off the bench. I know he's similar to the likes of Walters and Long, but I think he's a lot more difficult to deal with. He's a bit taller. He's quite a big man. I think he's quite difficult to deal with for centre halves. I thought he had a very positive impact when he came on, so I probably had to give him a 7.
Having watched the highlights back, I think he was very unlucky not to get a penalty, because he couldn't, we were down then, but I couldn't really make out what was happening so quickly. Then I saw the replays on TV, and the referee's 10 yards away. He should have given it to him.
If he made more of it, he might have been.
I think that's Thomas's downfall.
Anytime I watch Murphy, I kind of, all I can think is, doesn't matter now, but why didn't Trapattoni, he's 34 or 35 now. Why wasn't
he's old enough.
He's pretty, but I mean, why wasn't Trapattoni picking him? And, because I mean, he's only started scoring goals the last couple of years, because I think he was used as a winger. He's 6'3" or something. It's weird how he's a winger, but even at Celtic, I think he wasn't there that long, but he did alright for them, and he did alright for Ipswich, and I kind of thought he would have been a really good kind of big option. Instead, no criticism to the likes of Conor Salmon or Caleb Folan. Look, they contributed, but he offers a lot more than they did, and I don't. It's kind of frustrating whenever I watch him. I kind of think, why the hell wasn't he in the squad years ago?
He's good on the ball too. In fairness to him, he is comfortable with the ball at the feet.
But even when he was younger, he was more comfortable because he was used as a winger. And I remember watching a clip of him scoring a goal for Celtic, and look, people can say what they want about the SPL, but he literally ran the pitch and beat a few players, and I don't think he can really do that anymore. But I mean, I just wish he was used as our kind of option years ago, and because at the moment he's probably not as mobile, but he's certainly a good impact sub, and he's done well for us this campaign.
Fair enough.
Not consistent, but he's done well.
Very briefly, Martin O'Neill out of 10, just on team selection. Very briefly.
Positives were Hoolahan and Meyler coming in. Negative was probably the system that he picked. I'd probably give him a 6.
6, Nick?
Yeah, I mean the system, the diamond was perfect, but who made up the diamond wasn't right. Brady on the right of it, no, he should have played left back. Ward was grand, but he should have put Brady in a right back, and maybe Arthur into the right hand side of that. McLean can't play centrally. If he was going to play McLean, he should have played him up top. And maybe put Horan on the left, and that would have been a nice bit of balance.
And then bring on maybe Walters or Long.
Exactly, because I don't think Walters was fit. Long isn't playing, so you could argue for neither of them starting and putting McLean up in that kind of free role. So as I said, Diamond was the perfect call, but the personnel again just wasn't correct.
10?
I think we did well last night, so I'll give him a 6. But look, I think we could have approached things differently when they were down to 10 men.
Those are our ratings there. If you feel like we're being harsh or generous, anyone, just let us know down below, and we will be back to talk about how Ireland can still qualify for the World Cup next year in Russia very soon.